And welcome back, Magic players and frequenters of Magic and all things Magic related. It's that favorite time of year for us. It's spoiler season! Guilds of Ravnica spoilers officially started today. I will, as always, go over the cards and just give my opinions on them. Should note that I look at cards from the standpoint of a guy who does not play Format. I do not play Modern. I do not play Limited. I do not play Legacy, Standard. I only play kitchen tabletop, which means I'll use any and all cards, regardless of formats or sets. A little EDH here and there, in limited and sealed. So that's how I view cards. So I mean, we got to start off right out of the gate with the big guy they showed today. I'm sorry, I just realized something too. Niv Mizzet Parun, which is the Paruns were basically the originators of the guild. I didn't even realize this looking at him. He's not a mythic rare. He's a rare card. So the guild leaders are now rare? That's interesting. Because I'm going to do a separate video on this subject, but Mark Rosar basically explained how the sets are going to kind of go a little bit story-wise, that 5 of the guilds are going to fall under Bolas's control. The 5 of those guilds will end up having a planeswalker in charge, in charge of them. So, and there's 2 in guilds and 3 in Ravnica Allegiance, and then it's going to come to a head in a war. I'll do a different video which guilds I think fall under that banner. We know Izzet though is going to be under them because Ral Zarek, who's now Ral, Viceroy. Izzet Viceroy. He works under Bolas. He is working for him. So we know that. Is it Viceroy, right? Yeah, is it Viceroy? I don't know if he's... I mean, we'll have to find out with the stories, but I don't know if he's the new head of the guild or not. He's maybe going to upsert Niv, but regardless, Niv is 3 red, 3 blue, so 6 mana for a 5/5 legendary creature dragon wizard. Legendary creature dragon wizard rare. The spell cannot be countered. He has flying. Whenever you draw a card, it deals 1. This card deals, or Niv, deals 1 damage to any target. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spells, you draw a card. Here's the thing that there's 2 things that kind of bother me a little bit. In terms of all his effects, that falls about into the right well for Nivs, particularly type of deck that would run Niv Mizzet. Because all those decks are usually on the heavier spell side. I know my red-blue is definitely on this sorry. Hey, hello, puppy. Hello, yes, you make your nest. Get that blanket, make your nest. Yeah, my red-blue deck uses the current Niv we have, the one from Return to Ravnica. That one's on the spell-heavy side. So all these effects make sense. The can't be countered part is very interesting. It's unique that they would put that on a creature, which means that he's coming out in the field no matter what. And then he's a 5/5 flyer. That alone is pretty solid value. And then, of course, you draw a card. That means once per turn, you're dealing 1 damage to either player or a creature. Anyone plays anything, that is a instant or sorcery card, you will draw a card and deal another damage. So it is a bit of a ticking clock. Particularly if you get this later out in the game, it's a ticking clock. If you get this out, say, late in the game, your opponent has maybe 10 life left. That means it is a 10-turn clock, and that's assuming you're not playing things to basically whittle them down. So it's a very, very powerful card, actually. 2 problems I have. One is an actual playing problem. The other is more just a personal issue. But the play problem is this is solely blue-red. The other 2 Niv Mizzes always were red-blue, but always had some extra mana to them. So if you had to, you could splash them in another deck. Or if you wanted to, you could splash them in another deck with much more ease. With this, unless you've got great mana generation, you're kind of forced to solely be in red and blue in this. The other problem I have, which is more personal, is I don't like this guy's face. This guy does not. It's literally they made him look like a frog. They made his face look like he's got that shit-eating grin on his face, or shading smirk on his face, but he looks like a frog. Yeah, I don't like what they did with his face. Otherwise, it's a solid card. I mean, I'm most likely going to be playing Izzet during the pre-release. So if I pull this guy in a pack or something, and because he's rare, it's a lot easier to pull him than, say, whatever the mythic is, be it Ral or whatever the other mythic might be, assuming they have another mythic. And then, yeah, and then again, now here's the thing. Maybe not all of the guild leaders are rare. Maybe some of them are mythic, because they make a point in saying in Rosar's article, again, I'll get to that when I do the other video more in depth, is that there are planeswalkers either in charge of the guild, like we see with Vraska, or who are kind of running the strings of the guild behind the scenes. So it's tough call to say if we're going to see all the guild leaders be rare cards. We'll see what happens. Then we get two split cards. We have Response and Resurgence. Response is the Boros one, or in Resurgence. This is the Boros one. Response is two hybrid white and red mana. Instant rare. So yeah, and I had to do this because it's damn sideways card. I could click on it, but what's the fun in that? Response deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Then Resurgence is 1 white, 1 red, and 3 of any color. For a sorcery rare, creatures you control get Vigilance and First Strike until the end of turn. And after the main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. So, I know that the additional combat effect has been done in many cards before, but as far as I know, they've never really been the best of effects. Honestly, the effect you'd want to play is the response. The response is a solid effect. It's attacking or blocking. You can just basically blow it up. That's basically it. Or if you hit say a big where you hit Niv for 2 mana in this, or 1 mana, a 1/1 flyer in the sky, you can just do this and blow Niv up. So no, I think I prefer the response over the Resurgence, but it's a good card overall. And then we have, and you know what, I'm not going to bother to continue tilting my head. We have Find and Finality. Find is 2 hybrid. I'm seeing a pattern here with the rare cards, the rare split cards. It's 2 hybrid mana and then whatever the cost is, but 1 of each mana color. So 2 hybrid mana for sorcery. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Good recursion card. And then for Finality, it is 1 green, 1 black, and 4 of any color. You may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, and then all creatures you get -4/-4 until the end of turn. So essentially what this is, it's a board wipe effect. It's a combo pump board wipe. Now, this would be good as long as you have a creature on the field that has at least 3 butt on it. Because otherwise, you're just going to be wiping out the entire field, and the +1 counters aren't going to matter. So you need to have something that has at least a 3 butt. But something with a 3 butt is not a hard or difficult thing to do openly, honestly. It's pretty simple, particularly with Golgari, that has a tendency for having some big meaty stuff in there. I mean, with the black doesn't have the biggest meatiest creatures. Green obviously does. Golgari has a tendency of growing bigger creatures. It's similar to Simic, but not quite in the same vein. So I like both those cards, honestly. I don't know which I would probably use over. That's going to be definitely a circumstantial one, which is going to benefit you more in the scenario that you are capable of using either. Whereas Response and Resurgence, Response is just the better of the two. That's my opinion, though. Dream Eater is a 2 blue, 4 of any color, mythic rare, Nightmare Sphinx. I love the fact it's a Nightmare Sphinx. That's awesome. You're going in the Sphinx text, by the way, buddy, that I'm making. He's a 4/3 flying flash. When he enters the battlefield, surveil 4, which obviously means look at the top 4 cards, put any number of them into the graveyard, and then put the rest on the top of your library in any order. When you do, you may return target non-land permanent your opponent controls to its owner's hand. So essentially, this is 4/3 on a 6 body, but you can play it like an instant. You get to basically scry your deck more or less, and you bounce something there. This is just value. This is just value. If it were any more expensive than 6, I'd say it's not worth it, or at least it's not a first pick card, because otherwise it's just. Otherwise, it'd just be a 4/3 on a 7 body. Even flying is not exceptionally worth it. But at 6 mana, that's not a bad card. That's not a bad value at all. This is just a good card. It's just a good card. You get the search, you get the bounce, you get the flash. Just good stuff. I love it. I like it. I definitely use it. Assassin's Trophy. 1 red, 1 green, 1 black for a instant rare. Destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield, then shuffle their library. Yes, see, I don't like cards that give your opponents. Yes, you're taking away something. Ultimately, and if you're taking away something big, it's particularly because it says permanent, you can kill a planeswalker, you can kill a big meaty creature as long as it doesn't have hexproof. So it's not. It's good, and it is good. But I've never liked something that gives your opponent... Like, I play Path to Exile. I like Path to Exile. It's cheap. It's easy removal. But I don't like giving my opponent a land. So, I don't know. But it's still good. I would use it, definitely. I don't know if I'd go crazy with it, but I'd use one. Goblin Electromancer gets a reprint. 2/2, 1 red, 1 blue. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less. You can't go wrong with Goblin Electromancer. You can't. That's a bread and butter Izzet card right there. We got Hypothesizzle. Not Hypothesize, but a Hypothesizzle. Fantastic art on this thing, by the way. I love the blues. A little bit of, not red, but a little violet in there. 1 red, 1 blue, 3 of any color for instant. Common. Just draw 2 cards. Then you may discard a non-land card. When you do, Hypothesizzle deals 4 damage to target creature. Honestly, that's a solid common. That's instant, which means you can play it anytime you want. 5 mana is a little steep, but you get to draw 2 cards. You may, and it says you may, by the way. It says you may. You don't have to discard that card. That may makes it so much better than if you had to. If you had to, it'd still be a good card, but the fact is you may, and if you decide to, then you can burn a creature for 4 damage. This is a good card. This is a very good card. I can definitely see. This is kind of the new, what was it? Not Electrolyze. Oh, crap. I have one upstairs. I don't use it. Crap. It's kind of a different version of a card that from a while back, and I'm forgetting the name of it. But Somala Woodshaper. I think I got that right. Somala Woodshaper. 1 white, 1 green, 2 of any color for a 2/1 Elf Druid. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or enchantment card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So it's kind of a scry on there, particularly for creatures and enchantments. It's good that it's 4 cards, so you'll have a good chance. What's interesting, what stands out to me more than anything else, 2/1 for 4 is not really good value because ultimately it's not doing anything on the field after the search. It's 2/1 for 4. But the thing that stands out to me is the enchantment. Why enchantment? I get because druids and sages of like Selesnya's colors tend to kind of be enchantresses, enchanters, things along those lines. It just stands out to me interesting in the sense that is Selesnya going to maybe lean a little heavier on enchantments per se? I know we got Convoke back, but I don't know. It's an okay card. It's not amazing. At least I don't think it's amazing. But it's an okay card. Chromatic Lantern gets a reprint. Chromatic Lantern is 3 of any color. Lands you control tap it and add 1 mana color of any color. And you can tap this card and basically give mana of any color to tap for any color. Last 5 cards real quick. Fresh-faced recruit. 1 hybrid mono, 1 of any color for a 2/1. As long as it's your turn, it has first strike. I mean, it's a 2/1 for 2 and one of its hybrid mono, so it's pretty usable in that sense. And then on your turn, it's got first strike. That's pretty good, which means you're going to be attacking into it, which also means you're going to be making use of the mentor ability. And speaking of mentors, Sunholm Stalwart, 1 white, 1 of any color for a 2/2 uncommon. So it's a bear with first strike and mentor. It's good. It's usable. And obviously mentor with lesser power. Because any bear is usable. A bear with first strike is solid. It has an extra ability on there that will pump up weaker creatures. Granted, they need to be 1/1s, but you can still do that. That's a good card. Damir Informant. 1 blue, 2 of any color for a 1/4 human rogue. When Damir Informant enters the battlefield, surveil 2. That's a pretty solid. That's an okay card. I mean, it doesn't have any extra effect past the surveil, but surveil I would say is a better ability than what we saw on that Sumala Woodshaper, because Sumala Woodshaper is specifically targeting a certain type of card. Granted, it does have the benefit of putting that card in your hand, but if you don't have anything in that lineup, you just kind of put stuff on the bottom of your library at that point. This one's a mix and match. Scry's just, I think, a better ability overall than that. You go, baby. But overall, no, it's got a butt, so it will live a good while. Granted, 3 mana might be a bit much, but you get an extra ability on the 1/4, so I think it balances out. It's an okay card. Whisper Agent, 1 of any color and 2 hybrid blue-black mana. So 3 altogether. For a 3/2 flash, when it enters the battlefield, surveil 1. 3/2 for 3 is on its own usable. Flash, play it as an instant, do as a combat trick, and then you get the surveil 1. It's a good card. It's a usable card. It's a common. And last, we ended with last today, at least assuming they don't pop anything, even if they bring up anything else today. I'm not going to talk about it today. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Bounty Agent, 1 white, 1 of any color for a human soldier, 2/2, rare, vigilance. Tap it and sacrifice it. Destroy target legendary permanent. That's either a artifact creature or enchantment, which means this thing cannot kill a planeswalker or a land. But still, it's fine. You have to target legendary creatures is the thing, so it is limited in that regard. But still, it's pretty good. Should note, 1 card that got spoiled a little while ago that I didn't get around to covering is Wary Okapi, which is a 3/2 vigilance for 3, 1 green, 2 of any color. Good card. There's also Murmuring Mystic that I didn't get around to covering, which is it's a 1/5 for 4, 1 blue, 3 of any color. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue bird illusion creature token. That's a good card. 4 is a little pricey, but it's got a 5 butt, and then you're getting value off of just recasting your jumpstart spells. So you got benefits there. And then the last one is Arboretum Elemental. 2 green, 7 of any color, so 9 altogether. 7/5 with Convoke and Hexproof. Assuming you're playing a token creating deck in Selesnya or something like that, you'll probably have at least 3 creatures out, which means this thing goes from being a 9 to being a 6, and a 7/5 for 6 with Hexproof is just value. Plus the guild gets make a return, so those are a thing. But anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on today's spoiled cards. We got some good cards that came out today. Again, I'm a little iffy on Niv, but if Niv is overall, I think, a good card. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And ideas for who would win, Star, Super Rare, Magic, what if, anything I do on the channel, put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. I'll be back in